Hello and welcome to our Minecraft Hardcore world. I'm Doom Mountain and this is episode 21 from our world. This is also the first episode back in the brand new year 2023. Oh man, I hope everyone sort of celebrated the new year in their own way and had much fun sort of doing whatever it was that they were up to. Now, since last time I did say that I was going to continue on working on the outskirt of the building, and as you can see here, I didn't lie, right? So we added in, except there a tiny bit of a third level up on this side of it here on the east wing. We also decided to go through and just put a bit more of the brickwork up on that second level. I decided to do it's a white terracotta and stripped birch wood for the second floor up on the west wing, as well as having a glass sort of walk through on that sort of center joining section. However though, I have also on the outside continued on or introduced a bit of a pole outline for each section, so we can do this bit of a campfire roofing on the top there, which I actually think comes up really nice. If we just take a little run down here, you can see how it just nicely pops up there. I've got to make sure that I've got all the campfires running in the same direction, but I think if I do that, it really adds a nice little bit of a flair to the whole outside perimeter. Still on the outside, and I made sure that we had anvils around the whole strip of our walkway. Everything except that one block there, I need to fix that, but every other section around here is wrapped around with the anvils. And I didn't just stop here in our pathway because I thought, you know what, it looks really cool as it is, so why not just continue it along the whole strip of everything around this sort of whole area, just to tie it in and give it a bit more uniform sort of look. Alright, and if we come inside of the Grand Library of Uruk, you can see that I managed to go through and finish off that sort of inner roofing lip that I sort of started the design of last episode, and I really think it ties in nicely with the build. I've gone through and added in all of the stairs, however though this room has not had any sort of work done on it yet, but you can see here we've got a basic level walking us up to the stairs, and we have a little bit of a connecting run just down here onto our glass sort of lookout walk. I really like how this sort of turned up, and I think it's just a nice little feature to have in this building. Like if I put some seats along the windows here, you can really just sit out and enjoy the views that are sort of around here. We've got the mountaintop, we've got the village, and I just think it looks really, really cool. So we come on down now and enter into the east wing. You can see that we've sort of started marking up how we want our stairwell to walk in down the entrance here, and I'm thinking that we might even include a world map. That might be the project that we set up down here, is actually map out our whole world and the areas that we actually think we might build up and actually expand different villages into. Just as a little bit of a feature, you know, just sort of put a map in there, why not? Back up onto the ground level though, and you can see that this is one of the only rooms that I think is pretty much cleared up and just ready for the decoration inside of it to go. It looks really nicely with this jungle trimming along the top there. The spacing is perfect to sort of build out a bit of just a study area, keep some books in here, and it's just, yeah, it turned out nicely. Now I did include, to try and make a bit more of an interesting archway and stairwell entrance, to sort of segment off both sections, and it leads up again nicely to just sort of big more space. I did run out of ink sacs to be able to finish off the tinted glass here, but it will be done shortly, as well as having off a stairwell to go up to the third and final floor in this building, which I think might just serve as maybe a lookout, or I don't know, it would be some sort of importance room, because yeah, like, it gets a great view of the whole village up here. Alright, so as you can see, we haven't quite finished up how the walls and everything's going to look, and we don't even have a frame idea of the roof up yet. So what I was thinking is there's a few resources that I need to gather up, you know, terracotta being one of them, and you know, getting up some more campfires, that sort of stuff. So what I was thinking I was going to do is I might just jump over and do my first sort of live stream of the year, and then when we come back I should have all the walls finished up here, and we should have the frame of the roof up and ready, so that way we can go through and I can you know, explain what I'm going to use other than kelp, because I am getting far away from it for this roof. So yeah guys, I'm gonna jump over on Twitch, do a bit of a live stream, and then when we come back we'll be up to finishing off the roof of this building. Alright guys, so a live stream later, and we managed to find ourselves a mesa biome, and luckily for us it was just a matter of following this river all the way up until we sort of came up to it. It was on the coast of it, so that was really good. It was a bit of a distance away, but we managed to find up the terracotta, which allowed us to finish the walls on the west wing build. And we've also now gotten into place the A-frame of our roofing. So if I spin around, we can have a bit of a look here. See, for the middle roof, it's a bit more of a lower one, as well as having a few more segmented wraps in it with the... I've kept with the deep slate sort of brickwork, because I like how it sort of wraps and sort of, you know, fills up that sort of framing. What's the words I'm looking for? I just like how it frames up the roofs and everything. So yeah, I've continued on that. We've sort of got some standard sort of peaked roof here for our west wing. I've tried to have a bit of a peak out there to give it a bit more shape and just sort of different look, and I hope that might sort of come through as a bit more of a nice touch. It's something that we've sort of done in that the in-house behind me, so I've tried to sort of copy that. Over here though, this one was a bit of a challenge, so I did have to sort of think of it in a bit of a partial build way, but we've managed to sort of have a diagonal roof here before sort of then having back on the vertical looking opposite sort of back into the village, I should say, for that third floor. Now, I haven't gotten any more campfires to finish that outer lip, because I think I can get them from a fisherman villager, so that might be something that I sort of set up over in Rabbitson back at the home there, so I can actually cure that guy and get a bit of a discount for it. But for our roof blocks, to stay away from kelp, I've decided I want to try out the new mangrove logs. Like, 1.19 came out and all we did was we played with frogs. So I thought, why not for our grand library, why not let's use this wood in for the roof? And I think the best way to start off would be just that centre bit there. So yeah, let's jump up there and start placing some blocks and seeing how this looks. Alright, so I've just quickly made up some slab and stair varieties of our mangrove wood. Any place where we sort of need it to be a flat strip. I don't think this centre roof has it, but where we've got those sort of angled up peaks, as you can see being the block, I think I might just use the stripped variety of the mangrove log. I might even include some netherrack, because the colour palette of it looks very similar, so that might be an option for a bit of a texturing detail, but for now I'm just going to go with the one wood. So let's start off with our front sort of lipping. That way we get a nice sort of angled view at it, so we can see how it's going to look from the top. Now that's not how I wanted that to go off straight away. Come on, take two. Yes. Alright, and then just, yeah, I'll keep going along with this, and I think it's going to be a simple matter of, we're going to go stair, half slab up, stair, and then we just continue on with half slabs all the rest of the way up to the tippity top before we go with, is it one stair I believe? No, we can go the whole way. Now, as you can see with this lip here, it is going to get a little bit taken off as we get a bit higher and meet up with the lip of the other roof, and those are the sort of things that we're going to have a little bit of a look at as we get a bit further on. So let me keep going through trying to place blocks in the right place, and I'll bring you back when we've got this first lip and we can have a look down there and sort of see how it blends in. Alright, back in a sec. Alright, so I only ran out of mangrove wood once, but that was okay. I could go back and restock back at the homestead. But if we spin around, I do like the way that this colour looks up here on the roof. Now, I think it might have some issues and get too blandish as we go through the other roofs, so I might make a decision as I'm going through to whether or not I introduce some copper or some acacia logs to sort of get a bit of a lighter sort of colour in there. I would love to use the red nether bricks, however I do not have enough nether wart, and I don't think I'll be able to actually get enough to be able to make it. So for now I think copper might be my alternative option if I don't like the way that it all blends. However though, with that said, let's just go up and have a bit more of a closer look up on the roof. We can have a better look at how it is. Alright, so up here on the roof now, you can see how I've sort of cut it short as the other building enters it here behind me, but allowed it to go the full length, so there's no sort of real odd sort of shapened out by the roof coverage, and it does look like the building properly continues on. for this effect, I've also gone up all the way up to where the interior wall here will go. So that means now I know exactly where I've got to place these blocks to be able to match it up, and it all lines up and looks a bit more of a smoother joint between the roof and the building wall of the other side. Now, for all of these under sort of lippings here, I'm going to use probably just the standard sort of stripped oak and dripstone block to sort of just keep with the same theme here. Now, with this one, I might just continue the lip onto this side so that way it doesn't look too indented in and a bit out of place, but it might look alright. I don't know. It's something that we'll just have to look at as we get to that point. Now, coming onto this roof here, I did notice that some of it didn't quite lip up, as you can see this section here, and this is where we can bring in the under half of this roof to line up and actually, you know, make it look like a coherent sort of roof build. So that's all the planning, and I think it looks alright at the moment. As I said, I'm not too sure if we'll need to change up to get a bit more of a variety of the red in there, but this is a good spot where I'm at. So I think instead of making you guys watch me place all of these stairs and slabs and everything, I'm just going to cut away now and bring you back in to the finished roof. Alright, let's see how we go. Alright, so unfortunately I did decide that just the plain mangrove wood for the roof was a bit plain. So I wanted to end up with the red nether brick and the nether brick sort of texturing to get a bit of red splotchiness. But as you can see here, Chris's farm is not quite enough to actually get all of the warts that we need to make the bricks, so I decided that what I'll do while I'm here is I'll brew up some fire resist potions, add in a bit of redstone to make it sort of extend a little bit longer, and then it's going to be, you know, head on back home, work out a spot to make a warts farm, and then I've got to go back into the nether to collect up some soul sand because I just do not have enough. So we work out the perfect spot to put this area in. It's just over 3.5 stacks worth of dirt blocks removed, so I know that's how much soul sand I had to get back in. So then we just sort of jump through, testing the portal, saying goodbye to Diego, and yeah, head on over to the soul sand before we can collect up our reasonable amount, returning home to sort of place it into the field and get our nether warts to start to grow. Now I decide, you know what, we also need netherrack to get the nether bricks for this, so why not just jump back in. I did a little Google search to find out what would be the best level for netherite because we want to get our axe, you know, with ancient debris on it. So I, look it up. Turns out Y level 15 was the best to head to, so I set up a tunnel all the way down there, trying my best to avoid lava as I could. And then, yeah, just headed off running down in a straight line for about an hour. This is going to be pretty sped up. And yeah, we got a total of, I think, about 30 pieces of ancient debris, so not too bad, not too bad. But let's see, was it all worth it? Let's jump back in and have a look at our brand new roof. Yeah, I do think that it was worth it spending the time getting that red netherrack and the red netherrack bricks and all the warts to actually do the splotchiness effect onto this roof. It gives it a bit more character compared to all the other ones, which is, as we can see, just that plain single kelp block. But yeah, I think it actually really does add to the bit more of importance and age of this building. As you can see, the bright red of the nether brick actually sort of shows us more of the original colour, whereas then we can see it start to sort of fade with the mangrove wood, or sort of darken with the sun sort of bursting on it a bit more in the netherrack. It's just sort of standard brick, which has a bit more of a purple tinge to it. But I think it actually turned up really well. We've also, on that live stream, got up a few villagers to be able to trade with to get some more campfire, so that's coming along nicely. If you were wondering how all of a sudden my levels jumped up, yeah, villagers are a bit of a pretty good source of XP, so I've been actually using them to fix up my gear than the skeleton farm at the moment. But let's jump up and have a bit of a closer look at the roof. Before we jump up on the roof, I just want to point out that yes, I have noticed this sort of pierce stick out on the roof. It doesn't quite make too much sense having the center line of it. So I will be bringing it back a little bit to tie it out to there. So that's something that I'm going to do off camera as a little fix up to make it a bit more coherent with the roof. Alright, let's jump up on the roof now. So up here on the roof now, we get a bit more of a closer look at sort of the detailing in there, and it does look like a bit of a higgledy-piggledy mess, but the further back we sort of get from it, it does really look nicely as a sort of different tones of reds sort of splotch in there, and it gives it a bit more that sort of aged look. And I think I haven't quite nailed the execution here, however though, it is a really good sort of showing off on the building of the first sort of attempts that we've got of sort of doing that bit more of the aging of the splotches. Now we can also see here too that I did mention the little roof would tuck in underneath the other one, and as we can see we still connect them up in underneath all the areas as it should. So I think they're all coming up really nicely, and as you can see behind me, this one here is the only one where I've actually done the proper facing with the stripped oak and the dripstone blocks. So I guess now what I've got to do is go around and start placing in all of the dripstone blocks and the oak logs, starting to strip them out before I go through with, I think I might use a different sort of wood colouring rather than the jungle logs and planks and fences that I've been using. I might use like a dark oak so it doesn't sort of clash so much with the brickwork. It stands out a little bit more, actually gives a bit more of a framing. Then once that's all done, I've got to go inside of the actual building and put in all of the roofs to sort of make it look a bit more like our inner sort of entranceway where we've finished off the roof work in there, and get that done in all the rooms so that they're ready up to be just sort of decorated. And then yeah, once we get that to the stage, it should be all good. Alright, so before I start off the next clip, I would like to make note that unfortunately I have not been able to gather up enough campfires because my damn fisherman villages have gone on strike and they keep changing their prices, and it's becoming a bit of a nightmare. However though, that didn't stop me. I have, as you probably would have seen from that little bit of a cutscene, yeah, we've gone around and added in our trimming. We've also added in a bit of the glowberry vines to sort of give a bit more colour. Now up here you can see that it looks quite plain and it needs an arch over the windows, and what I would like to add there is some campfires that sit upon a few open fence gates to sort of give a bit of an archway over the window. However though, as I kind of said, my fisherman villages are just going on strike and will not work for them. No, not the ones over here, the ones that I set up on the live stream back over at Rabbiton. Alright, so as you can see, the campfires look really nicely coming up here as the archway, and I will continue it out over on the longer peak after I finish the wrap around the building, because I want to get that sort of done first so I can add in all of the hanging glowberries, because I think they will add a real nice sort of just add of colour to the rest of the dullness of the build. We've also got, you know, a few ones over here, a few cauldrons with some leaves on it to give a few sort of that feel of some potted plantery to sort of give it a bit more life in the build, and that sort of continues around with the footpathing. Now as we go inside, you can see that this first entranceway is still as, well, it was, it's pretty well finished. We also had this area here which was finished up nicely, but I've also included now the downstairs area to where I wanted our map to be of the world. So this isn't going to be a map of Uruk, this is going to be our world map. This is, you know, the Grand Library. Yes, as you can see, there are some kelp blocks here. That's because they were spare. I didn't wait around for them. I'm not going through that pain again. But other than that, we've got a nice sort of large open space in this area, and you know, we've got a lot of stuff that we can potentially do with a bit of the story and lore building in here. But this is only the basement of this east wing. Let's head on up to the second floor. Up here on the second floor now, and you can see that I did put in some safety rails because I kept falling down our stairs, but it's also nice and completed up. We've got a bit of a showing off of where some bookshelves are. Obviously I will try and run a few along the middle here, but that's part of the decorating side, and we haven't quite done that yet. I also included a bit of using the trapdoors here to make a different sort of walled off area for a stairwell to lead up to our more important space up the top here. We get the nice look out over the whole village, and it really sort of comes to life. Now, yes, again, leftover kelp blocks, but the slime blocks with the glow lichen, that's got a really cool texture, and I just sort of liked how that looks. So I thought, you know what, why not use it as this design here? Alright, so let's head over to, we'll go back to the ground level and check out the west wing. Now, I did do some changes to the west wing where it had an extra staircase leading up at the back there, and I decided it was just taking up a bit too much space and I didn't really have anywhere in this grand library where we could represent and sort of give sort of any ceremonies or anything that might be the case. So I decided to put a bit of a stage up there, which I think looks alright. So let's spin around. As you can see, we've put in the bookshelves here to cut off from the stairs. We've got our stairwell to go down into the basement over here. I did the proper indent of the bookshelves over here. I couldn't quite get that because of the staircase, and we wrap it around to the other side to really fill in any of that dead space, which I like being able to do. As you can see here, we've got our little podium where, you know, people can come up if they're being called, or, you know, we might put in a bit of doorways here so we can have some people hiding off in the wings and then come up as need be and sort of do their whole, hello, how's it going? I'm getting my reward. But yeah, so then, again, just the jungle wood for the roof, but it looks really nice. Now, if we head on downstairs, this one here we use just the nether brick sort of block for the floor. Wow, words was just a shambles then. But over here, I'm not too sure what I want to use this area for. If I want to have it as maybe more of, we have some enchanted storage and some enchanted lore that might stay down here in an area that's a bit more creepier. As you can see, we don't have too many torches in here, but in game, it's pretty well lit up because this is all half slabs getting light from underneath as well as half slabs getting light from above. So we did pretty well on being able to score out some hidden lighting here. Alright, now let's head up to the first floor, and the only actual other floor for this one, and again, yes, making use of the leftover kelp blocks. And for this room here, I had to change the roof because it didn't quite work going with the jungle with this sort of white terracotta and the stripped birch, because it just didn't quite work out as nicely. But giving it the darker roof really helps tie it into the, I don't know, just the formality of the build, I think. And then we get to my favourite part of this build, which is our walkway between the two wings. You get to look out over all the windows here, see out into the village, over into the mountain where we're going to be doing some building a little bit later on. You know, I've got some plans coming up for that. But yeah, it's just so cool over here. We've got a little secret doorway where we can, you know, harvest and get an extra supply of glowberries, because I just think that they're pretty cool just to have hanging around, and they don't take too much to actually grow. But yeah guys, this is all of the interiors ready for decoration. So, I think you guys know what time it is. That's right, that means it's time to now map out our world. What? You guys thought I was gonna decorate the light map? No. Let's just map out our whole world now. Then we might come back and do the decorating. Yeah. So, let's first start off by making ourselves a few blank maps, but I want to make them as locator maps. So I need at least 16 to make that space. I'll do the full 18 because that's going to work out nicely. Now, what I'm not too sure is if I could just go in there, if I put it in there, can I upgrade the size of the map? I thought I could make maps bigger. Or do you have to open it first? Okay, let's test this out. Open up this map. Now if I put it in here, add a piece of paper to it. Aha! I can zoom it out.
What size does that make it? It's a 1 of 4? It's definitely bigger though. That's a 1 of 4. What's that? Okay, well, I've got to see what that's a 2 of 4. Okay. Let's see what a 3 of 4 is.
3 of 4 is going to be pretty big. We're not going to really make out. Like, that's showing us our library up there as those little red bricks. Okay. And what is the max 4 of 4? Oh, we're going to be shown tiny. No, I kind of like the 3 of 4. So, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to take this cartography table with me so that when I go to each place I can, you know, open up the map, make it bigger up to 3, and then we can go out and clear out the area. So, I guess maybe let's just cut through to a bit of a montage of me mapping out the world. That sounds like fun. Feels so good to be back in the mapping room here, back in the Grand Library of Uruk. Now, as you can see, I did change the position of the map from being on the floor to actually being up on that back wall, purely because I got sick of actually having to look down to see the map. It was just inconvenience to me. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed that bit of a montage of me going through and filling out this map, and by doing it I actually learned 3 things about our world. Number 1, we have quite a few villages around the place, so we will be able to actually set up a few different districts, and you know, it'll make a bit more of a lore and story going on around this world. Thing number 2, I am not updating this map again until we have a pair of wings, because this took over 6 hours to walk the whole distance of our world. Like, I probably should have done level 2 size maps, but no, we did 3, and it looks good, but I'm not doing it again until we've got wings. That was massive. And thing number 3 that you may have seen from that little bit of a cutscene there, or the montage, I found at least 3, maybe 4 outposts trying to find any captured allays to actually bring them back to our world. Unfortunately, I didn't get any luck. It was all just sort of iron golems, so they didn't have a cage at all. However, though, I got Bad Omen quite a few times on our adventures and walked into quite a few villages. And I don't know what happened, but we could not, for the life of us, spawn a raid. I was trying to hope to actually get one so we could maybe get a Totem of Undying and, you know, just that little bit of extra protection, but yeah, I'm not too sure how that's going to work if we cannot start any raids. We might have to do it the old-fashioned way and go looking for a, what are they, the Dark Forest Mansions sort of thing? Yeah, go look for one of those maybe. But, you know, I didn't see any of them on the look, so we might have to get up a cartographer to show us a map for that. But anyway, before we sign off, let's just have a quick bit more of a closer look up at our map. As you can see, we are over here. The green dot shows the library here, standing in it. And then we have little Rabbitton just over here down the way. Over here was where I found quite a few of the strongholds, that sort of stuff, down by what I was calling, just by looking at the map, the Claw Cove. It looked really cool. We also have a mushroom biome, so that's something really handy to actually have in our world. I might be able to actually set up that and use it as a maybe a final big base, because we know that there's no hostile mobs going to be spawning in there. We've also got quite a bit of ice biome around us that extended on quite a bit up that way. And we did just miss out on our map, our mesa biome. Remember how I said that I just had to follow up? If we get up to here, I just followed the river all the way up on that live stream and came all the way down and around. Our mesa biome is the map that would probably go just about there, sort of thing. So it just missed out on being on the Great Wall of our world, but you know, we can still go there and collect resources. Alright guys, but after spending that much time collecting up all the stuff to actually get this map done, I think we're going to call it an episode here today. And well, we've kind of finished up this village. Now, all we've got to do is decorate all of the buildings, rename all of our villages so we know which ones are the originals, which ones are sort of the newer generation, make sure that this is all spawn proof, and then just let them out. And then Uruk is finished. We've finally finished our first major project, which, as you guys know, that means now we've got to take on the dragon. So that could be what we get done to next episode. We might be taking on the dragon then. So I hope you guys are looking forward to that. But until next time, thank you all for watching. I hope you all had a great time. Until next time,